So I was scrolling on social media the other day and I saw this funny meme that said once our COVID-19 house arrest is over, there are either going to be a lot of babies born or a lot of divorces.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up though. Like not the
Right.
babies part, right? Babies
Right.
are wonderful even when they're surprises. But the whole divorce thing, it is kind of messed up. But I guess I can understand that because
Yeah.
if people are working outside the home, and we know like nowadays people are commuting for hours. Realistically, when people come home from work, they spend what 4-5 good awake hours
Right.
before you go to sleep and start the whole day over again.
Yeah. And now it's all day.
24 hours
Right.
a day, which should be a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. It should be a good thing. But when you're kind of thrown into it amidst all of this new stress and unknown, it can be hard to kind of acclimate to. But luckily for us, we've kind of been training for this for the past at least year.
Almost 1 year.
Yeah, since Everly was born.
Right. And why is that?
Because you've been working from home a lot more. I mean, your job kind of allows you to do that. And then I'm not working. So whenever you're home, I'm here.
But now that we're home 24 hours, how do you navigate that?
Right.
So here are the 3 things that we want to share with you that we hope will be helpful to you that we have learned patiently,
Yeah,
sometimes the hard way.
right. Trial and error.
Yeah. But to really help us to be not at each other's throats and just
And
be
to
able
enjoy each other.
Right. Enjoy each other's
Yeah.
and finish each other's.
Sandwiches.
Dad
Do you even know what
jokes.
that's from?
Yes.
What?
Frozen.
Oh, good job.
Number 1, remember that you're partners.
Right. A lot of times, if you're working outside the home or if one of you's outside the home, you kind of get used to the schedules that when you're at work, these are the things that you have to accomplish. Well, now all of that is transitioning to home, and both of you have things that need to be accomplished during the day. And we tend to think about our own schedules, our own desires, our own to-do lists that we have to get crossed off every day, which can kind of lead to some frustration, stress, arguments, if you have 2 people trying to do that and it's just not happening because you have kids at home or there's just not enough space for you to get everything done or you're just frustrated in general.
Right. And we've had conversations with friends and family and we realize like it is hard, especially if you have children. But if you're partners, then you realize like we get to help each other.
Right.
So whatever your goals are for the day or whatever my goals are for the day, like we find ways to work those in so
Right.
that at the end of the day we're not frustrated because
Right.
I've had those days
Yeah,
where
of course.
I get to the end of the day and it's just like I got nothing
Nothing
done. Over the last year, not
Right.
like since the last 3
Right.
weeks. And a part of that has just been, life happens, like especially if you're home all day long.
So we have gotten into the habit of sitting down the night before and having a conversation talking about, okay, here are the things that I need to accomplish tomorrow. Here are the things that absolutely have to happen for me tomorrow. And we kind of fit those together along with thinking about all the other different plans that come into place, all the other different things we have to be, nap schedules, meal times, everything like that.
And if that sounds boring, it really isn't. Like it only takes a couple of minutes
Right.
max.
Yeah.
Because like most of our lives kind of you fall into this kind of pattern and routine. And so just the verbalizing of what you have to get done is just helpful because now
Right.
you wake up in the morning and you realize, okay, like this is what we're going to get done today. And it feels so good when like at the end of the day, we're like, we accomplished everything
Right.
that we wanted to.
Right.
So having a plan is super important to just be able to know what's happening the next day.
And part of being in a partnership is really enjoying each other. We started to realize that even though we were spending a lot of time together, it wasn't quality time that was giving life to our relationship. So even if it's just 5 minutes in the day that we carve out, just to spend time, laugh together, where our focus is not on what needed to happen, what did happen during the day, what has to happen tomorrow. So whether we just sit down and watch a TV episode, normally it is not a whole movie because we're both too tired.
Yeah, but just anything
Right.
where you're being intentional about
Right.
it.
And having conversation.
I think goes a really long way.
Yeah. Number 2 is control what you can control.
And that's important because so much of the world feels like everything is out of control. And what ends up happening like in our lives when we don't feel like we have control over things, we start trying to nitpick, we start nagging, we start blaming the other person for the things that we feel are out of control.
Right.
And then all that does is just cause arguments,
Yep.
bickering, and resentment. And so what's really important is to be aware of the things you can control.
Right.
So you can always control your thoughts, you can always control your actions, and you can always control how you're going to perceive something and like the attitude you're going to bring to something.
Right. And I can't control you or how you might behave, but I can control my response to you.
Right.
Which I think is something that we have really worked on. Because especially just on a day-to-day, as you know, even if you just get frustrated with how, you know, normal life, if one of us reacts out of frustration, then the other one, you know, always tries to pull us back in.
Right. And being aware of that is just super important.
Right. Just the awareness has really affected our relationship a lot. Number 3 is manage your own mental health. And what we mean by that is to just be self-aware enough to know if you're experiencing, you know, feelings of sadness, feelings of overwhelm, fear, worry, anxiety, stress, any of those negative feelings that can really affect how you go about your day, so that you can be able to communicate that to your partner.
Right. And I think that's so important because if you don't articulate that and communicate that, then the other person might feel like, oh, they're mad at me, or maybe I said something, or maybe I did something. And I think one of the things that we've come to realize is that we have to be able to articulate that to each other, because then the other person can be supportive. Right. So part of being in a relationship is, you know, when we make that commitment of on the good days and the bad days, is like when you're having a bad day, like I realize and I know that, hey, I'm going to be as supportive as I can and give you the space that you need. Because by doing that, you're continuing to build up goodwill. You're continuing to feel like, hey, my partner actually is going to be supportive. They have my back. And so you're able to be more vulnerable. Right. And I think when you're vulnerable, that leads towards more intimacy and a happier relationship.
Right. And I think after a while of us really struggling with, you know, why am I so frustrated today? Or why am I lashing out? Not lashing out, but, you know, like being like snippy or, you know, like all that, I don't know, bickering kind of stuff, was then we started to really recognize in ourselves, and then we could communicate that. So,
and I think that's been helpful. Right. That's been helpful just to be able to communicate that, be aware of that, and be able to support each other. So those are the 3 things that we have found helpful over the last several years, but specifically the last year when we've been working from home more and being together. And we hope that as you continue to be at home over the next months, who knows, that you're able to just better navigate your days and actually enjoy being home. Because the day's going to come when you're going to be away from home all these hours, and then you're probably going to wish that you were home with your family.
Yeah. So our hope is that you are able to use this time, as scary as it is, as a blessing, to be able to create a happier and healthier relationship.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.